You probably won't see it. You didn't even go see Captain Marvel yet. What's wrong with you?
Shazam! Yeah.
You need to go do a double
no
feature.
excuse. I have plenty of excuses, but I don't want to give them.
Welcome everybody. I'm back. I'm back.
Finally.
Woo!
We let him back in.
It's Comically Gaming, episode 136.
The Asylum.
I had to miss last week's episode. I really, really liked you guys' little episode of Comically Gaming. It was great. It was great. I like to be 100% just a listener to it, to have no input. And
Fresh info, yeah.
Makes it interesting. Gives me a different perspective, I feel like. But it was super crazy busy week after I had my parents in town and snowboarding last weekend, snowboarding again this weekend. I heard you guys making fun of me that during the recording of the show last week we were playing MLB The Show. Me and my dad, that's what we do when he comes to visit for sure. Once everybody else goes to bed, we knock out a couple of games of baseball before we retire. So we had some good back and forth battles. It was really great.
Who was the overall winner?
I think he won 2 out of 3. I think, to be honest. Yep. I'm not the pro, but yeah, good times. I love baseball. Right, my team's 2-2, which is better than I thought we'd be 4 games into the season. We're doing all right. So, the things that I've done that actually qualify for our show here. So we talk a lot of movies. First one that I want to talk about really is not qualified for the show. I watched a movie called The Leopard. It's an old 60s like historical film that's about like when Italy unified into one country, and kind of it's almost like Downton Abbey, where like it's the very end of the monarchy days and kind of going towards the government days. But it's weird, like I haven't watched anything like that. It's almost like Ben-Hur or Spartacus or something. Like
what made you watch that?
Well, to be honest, we were just going through ratings. They had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. And we saw 60s in Italian and thought that it would be like Italy in the 60s when we picked it. Not the case, right? It's in the 1800s or something like that. But it's so weird to watch that. It's been a long time since I watched something like that, like almost since high school or whatnot. And it was very like the pacing and stuff is so weird. Like it was fun to watch just because it's weird, if anything. Anybody seen The Leopard? Any of you all? Yeah, it's supposed to be a classic apparently.
I just wrote it down.
Okay. TV American Gods continues to be great. I don't know, Corey, you caught up on that or?
I'm not. I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, it's really super good. Also started watching the What We Do in the Shadows TV show. Started last week. Anybody else watch that?
No, I got it recorded. How is it?
It's good. It's basically the movie again in TV form. Like it's different actors or whatnot doing the exact shtick that the movie is. But it was, I mean, half an hour shows. I chuckled several times during the show. I'm not watching anything that's really a comedy right now, so I feel like I'll probably keep watching it. To be honest, they're quick, digestible, funny stuff. So I'll keep watching after the pilot.
I heard mixed reviews on it, so I'm curious.
I can see it's an acquired taste, right? Like the humor is very sarcastic and it's very dry. Like I was telling Corey, it's almost like The Office in that regard, where it's like some of the episodes are just weird, like them hanging out for 20 minutes, right? And then all of a sudden they'll drop a bunch of jokes that are real hilarious once you kind of get to know everybody and whatnot. So I enjoyed it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like it's got potential to be good over a season or two. Still playing MLB The Show on I'll stop talking about baseball, but I'm as well. And then we beat The Walking Dead season 3 and 4, which we are going to talk full spoilers about at the end of the show. So I won't go into details about that here. But finally, my birthday's coming up, and so I agreed to have the wife not buy me any presents, so I could just get myself some shit that I wanted.
And a new TV
stuff. So first of all,
oh geez,
Star Wars role-playing game. Force and Destiny. Look at this bad boy. I'm going to show you. Sorry for the audio listeners. Look how thick this is. This is compared to the Monster Manual. There.
Nice.
It's a fatty. So it's weird the way that Star Wars does it nowadays. This is the current new Fantasy Flight games, and they have 3 different games essentially that tie together. This one that I bought seems to be the one that sold out everywhere, and so I wanted to grab that one first. And it's the Jedi game, which is probably why it sold out everywhere. This is the play, like the starting adventures are like get the shit to make a lightsaber and stuff.
Nice.
It's funny because it takes place between 3 and 4 is the time frame for it. So there's actually a disclaimer at the beginning that's like, they say, if you want to play according to canon, then nobody should be Jedis because Luke was the only one at this time in the world, right? But if you want to just say screw that and play a bunch of Jedis doing adventures around the galaxy, then this is got all the Jedi rules and all that stuff in it. But super thick book, really good art in it. I just like it for just the Star Wars art alone. Even if I never played a game of it, I like the book, and I'm glad that I own it. But I definitely will play a game at some point. Yeah.
Is Jedi a class or is it a level that you reach?
It's a class. Yeah, it's a class. In the it's funny. So there's the 3 different books and basically this book has like, if we were comparing it to Dungeons and Dragons, like the Monster Manual, the DMG, and the Player's Handbook all in one, right? Because it's only about kind of Jedis and Sith and stuff like that. This is the one book. So there's 3 books. The other one is like it's called like Scoundrels and Villains, and that's like the I Want to Be Han Solo kind of book, right? And then the third one is basically it's like A New Hope. It's like you're Luke without being a Jedi, just hopping around the universe as a normal person trying to help the rebellion out and stuff like that. That's the third book. So you could play a game where we all just got this and I had a group of people being Jedis wrecking shop around the country, or if somebody happens to have like the Scoundrel book, they can play that type of a character and all the rule set ties together, right?
Okay.
Cool.
So
it's all D6?
So it's not. This is at first I was actually upset about this, but I actually like it now overall. Is they got custom dice
Is it
with weird
Fantasy Flight games?
weird symbols and all this stuff, right? So there's an app that you can use if players don't want to go out and get the dice or whatnot, but I bought the dice. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of cheesy. They just want you to buy something else. But I mean, I had to buy dice to play Dungeons and Dragons, so it doesn't really bug me that I have to buy dice to, I don't regret buying D20s to play D&D. I'm sure I won't regret these. So I also bought, to go along with it, an adventure book. So there's a pre-made game to go with it. And then that came with my first ever Dungeon Masters.
That's badass. Screen?
Yep. So, and it's all Star Wars.
That is nice.
It's really sweet. I'm really, really super happy with it. I can't wait to play it. It's going to be years and years down the line before I play it. And then the other thing that I got is I was at a comic book shop the other day, and they had for $15, and this thing goes for $35 on eBay right now, so I don't know what's up with their pricing, but it's the 3rd edition Forgotten Realms campaign setting.
Nice.
And so this is basically like the old version of the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, but only for the Forgotten Realms.
That covers much better than the Sword Coast.
Definitely. Super thick, all kinds of information. A huge section on geography. There's like the history of the realm, life in Faerun, and then they got some different classes and stuff. They call them in 3rd edition. They call them prestige classes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff in there, but it's really cool because outside of those classes, the rest of this book has nothing to do with a game system. It's all just lore. The whole book is lore. You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's as thick as the Player's Handbook or whatnot. And
a lot of people reference that still. Like even in 5e play, they go back to different because you can use all the old ones. You know, they just capitalize on it.
Absolutely.
Edition.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's cool because obviously my games take place in the Forgotten Realms right now.
That's awesome. I love that cover.
You kind of dig in and put some more history into the world, right? So yeah, that was it. That's my week.
Does it go over the Times of Trouble?
I don't know. I haven't read any of it yet. I just kind of leafed through. What do you got, Corey?
Corey.
Week. I didn't play too many games this week. But I did get back into Mario Tennis on the Switch. Quick gripe about my Switch. I have 4 Joy-Cons, and at this point, 3 out of 4 of them just do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't. They
Lock?
just fucking slide right off. Yeah, they don't fucking lock. The button's on the back. I don't need to press them down, so it'll slide off in my hands. Those fucking things are like $80. So what the fuck, Nintendo? Like 3 or 4 of them, yeah, I've gone bad, and I haven't even owned this for a year. But
have you tried calling Nintendo to ask if you can get them repaired or fixed or whatever?
no.
I'm just curious if they, in the past I've had consoles that for pretty inexpensively will do it if you ship it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I should. But yeah. Anyways, I bought Mario Tennis a while back, and I played like the first 2 missions, and then since then I've only played against other people, and I get my ass kicked every time. So I decided to try and step my game up.
Nice.
And I've been playing the campaign more, and it's super fun. I really like it. It's cool. I mean, I just took out Dry Bones, Koopa Trooper, Petey Piranha. I just took out Boo. And each tennis court has different variables. Like when Petey Piranha is the boss, like there's piranha plants that pop up in the middle of the tennis court, and if they grab your ball, they shoot it back at you. And each stage has different variables like that. So, but really fun, and I feel like I've got my skills up where I can compete now.
I can't wait to play again. Is it like you're playing through like a league or like a tournament, or like how's the setup of the story mode?
No, it's like a map. Like a Mario map, like Super Mario Bros. 3 or something, you're just running around from circle to circle on the map, and then like I just got out of Piranha Plant Forest, and now I'm at this haunted mansion, so it's cool, and they've updated the game a ton. Like when I turned it on last week for the first time in a while, it automatically gave me like 8 new characters. When the game released, it didn't even have. You couldn't even play a full match of tennis or game of tennis against another person. Like you could only play like mini matches, and they put a ton of free updates in it. And it's like a full, really good game now. I'm totally digging it. But now we just need Mario Golf. I really, really want that. So,
yeah, for sure.
But,
Hell yeah.
Other than that, the only other game I played was The Walking Dead, which Nate mentioned. We're going to talk about it later. Telltale. Finished that up. And then I finally got around to watching Venom last week, which was alright.
Now you've watched both of the movies.
Yeah,
from last year.
I definitely think I liked Aquaman better. Like, I would give Aquaman a 7 and Venom a 6.
Yeah.
But they were both. I just thought the world in Aquaman was cooler, Atlantis and stuff. Like just the whole, neither of them were great acting or anything. But Aquaman I just thought had cooler action and cooler environments and characters and stuff. But Venom was still really cool too. He did still look kind of cheesy, the symbiote, whatever.
Yes.
But I am kind of excited for the next one after watching the whole thing and all the way through the credits and whatnot. But yeah, it was I wasn't disappointed.
So like, I feel like. Spoiler for a movie that came out over a year ago at this point, if you really don't want Venom spoilers, fast forward 30 seconds here. Wouldn't it have been like, why isn't Spider-Man in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Thor Spider-Man in that movie is so much better. You know, it was good. Like I liked Tom Hardy in that, but
yeah,
you know, that was my thought throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, I had some, and the Venom's. This isn't even. I didn't like Venom's origin in the movie.
Okay, I'm with you.
You know, but
Yeah.
but it was decent. So, and that was it. That was my week.
Wow.
Dirk.
Cool.
Yeah. Dirk, how was yours?
Me, my week. I've had better weeks. Not great, but I did some pretty okay stuff.
Is it just because of work?
Yes.
Okay.
1,000%. Yeah. Everything else outside of work is a dream, but you know, we all get pulled down to earth.
Yep.
So I played a bunch of Uncharted. I'm about to finish number 2. I can see myself just finishing all of them before I move on to any game because they move really quickly.
Yeah.
I'm just flying through them. I love them. The story's great. I think I talked about it last week.
Yeah. You'd just beaten 1 last
year. Yeah. So I'm already, just about to beat 2. It's funny just how ridiculous the game is. Like,
for sure.
Like his forearms. I can't imagine the muscles in his forearms. But and some of the mechanics didn't translate well to the PS4 version. Like when I jump, like I don't know. It's like weird angles, and sometimes it doesn't match. And I'm like, well, why would he even do that?
It's just an old game.
Yeah, exactly.
It was probably like that on PS3 too.
Yeah, for all those warts, it's just lovely, and I can't wait to get through. I can't wait for like A Thief's End and then Lost Legacy. So I'm excited for those. Beyond that, I read.
Can I just talk about Uncharted just for a second? Like,
yes.
I thought that 2, without spoiling it, like I really enjoyed the story, the structure of it, like how it opens and then goes back to it. You know what I mean? Like, I really like that. You know, you like you guys were both saying, you just got to kind of put that, like, okay, he's this mass murderer who can climb like a monkey. Like, you got to put that out of your head and just be like, okay, have fun with this and get to know the characters and stuff. You know,
it's part of it.
It takes. You have to climb. You have to do all this insane shit to get into the tomb or whatever, and then once you get in there, it's like heavily populated by like a billion guards and stuff. And like, how the fuck did they all get in here? When I just had to scale.
I had to kill myself to get in there.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, he is about as cornbread, like, dude from Iowa as you could possibly imagine. And I'm doing like headshots on people. It's just like the sniping ability and the brutality is comical. I mean, almost in a way.
For sure.
And just coming from him, it looks really funny. But so yeah, I've been doing that. Vanessa beat Overcooked, and she's plowing through Overcooked 2. She's playing like hours. It's great. I love to. I started.
Do you ever play with her?
Yeah, I started playing co-op with her. I'm not good at it. She smokes me all day. So, but it's awesome. It's awesome to cheerlead for her. And you can see that they poured a ton of money from the first one into the second one. It was a huge, huge upgrade.
Really? I never checked out the second one.
Yeah, it's
cool.
you can tell graphically and just the way that it's spread out, the different mechanics in it are all crazy. Comic wise, well, before comics, I got the Lazy DM's Guide.
Oh.
The Lazy Dungeon Master. I cannot recommend this book enough. I haven't put it to application yet, but just reading through the 3 chapters that I've been, because it is a super quick read, and it's sort of like a reference book. It's small. I mean, it's only, probably 100 pages, if that. But super great for ideas. I mean, I'm like, I guess a small hint is they have you reference get cards to write notes on, and they try to just like encourage you to like pare down your ideas and not be so planned out, and like, try to keep it scaled back and let the story just kind of develop with a few touchstones sprinkled throughout.
Sure.
But even if you whatever your DM styling is, it's still an awesome book to read. Like I think you would get ideas just from reading it, even if you have something that's already planned out, or it's just not. Or if you have a campaign and it's not homebrew, it's still a cool book to read through. And then comic book wise, I read this God Country by Donnie Cates.
Heard about it. Or of it,
Oh
I should say.
my God! So we're gonna do it for the comic book club next week. Is it next week?
I think Comic Book Club is going to be on hiatus for a couple months. It seems.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Between Game of Thrones and all of the movies that are coming out, like I think we got to have a little springtime hiatus on the CBBC. Unfortunately.
I would highly encourage it. It's very rare that a comic book brings tears to my eyes. This book did it. It's fantastic. Awesome story. It's 6 issues. It's only 1 volume. You don't need it doesn't go outside of this. I think they're doing a movie out of it.
Okay.
And it's just fantastic. It has to do with this guy that's got Alzheimer's and a giant sword and a god looking for his sword, and it's crazy.
I did start reading that then. I was digging it too, and I just kind of fell off.
Oh, it's awesome. Totally awesome. The other book I wanted to recommend real quick is Sharky the Bounty Hunter, which is a Mark Millar book that just kicked off. Simone Bianchi does the art, and it's fantastic, but it's an image book. And apparently I just read that Netflix is going to do a movie of it. But it's about this blue-collar bounty hunter that tracks criminals across the galaxy in his converted rocket-powered ice cream truck. He's got like a 10-year-old that he's tagging along with him. It was awesome. I mean, Millar just continues to knock it out of the park.
Nice.
And then the last thing is I watched Motley Crue's The Dirt. Because everybody asked me this week at work, they were like, "Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it?" And I was like, "No," because I'd been talking about wanting to see it.
Sure.
I mean, personally, like The Crew was like one of those 3 go-to bands for me when I was younger. I knew like every member by name, age.
Sure.
Just the early stuff, though. I mean, nothing past Shout of the Devil. I didn't really listen to Theater of Pain or Girls, Girls, and all that.
Theater of Pain's good. Girls was not a good album, but I like Theater of Pain.
They were okay. They were very mediocre. They had a few hits. Wild Side's good on Girls, but no. To me, classic Crew is those first 2 albums. But the film itself, it is what it is. It's not very good. Right. But the thing is, I was such a fan of The Crew that I just enjoyed it anyway. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody to watch as a film to enjoy. Sure. But if you are a Motley Crue fan, you absolutely have to watch it. I mean,
so when you say that, like, is it just silly? Is it like
over
the top?
It is over the top, absolutely. But it is, they base it off of the book. The book is excellent. I don't know if you read the book. It's a biography of the Crew. They talk about their tour with Ozzy in the 80s, and it's heinous. I mean, the lives that these dudes lived in the 80s was just really, really crazy. But yeah, I mean, the film kind of, deals with that, but it's just so over the top. But the thing is, like, if you're a Crew fan, it's funny to watch. I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Knowing how bad it was, I still enjoyed it.
Sure. Gotcha.
That's my week.
Jeff.
Wow.
Close it out.
That was a long week. Good Lord. I'm tired. No, I'm getting into the groove on my DMing this week. We did episode 4 this past week, and I want to. Dirk showed me the DM Guild website.
Yeah, buddy.
So I jumped on there, found a guide that was like invaluable, and it's
For doing
really
what? For like running fights and stuff?
for just the whole, like, it's an overall synopsis of the campaign.
Okay.
And because in this campaign, stuff is scattered throughout the different chapters.
Yeah.
And so you'll be reading one thing, and then you'll read a couple of chapters later, and it'll reference something that happened like in chapter 3. And you're like, well, I wish I'd known that, earlier. So it helps, like, condense everything to make it easier to understand.
Sure.
It's really nice. It gave me some ideas.
Is the guide specific to Out of the Abyss, or is it
There's
for
tons
DMs?
This guy wrote it, Sean McGovern wrote it specifically for the Out of the Abyss. And
He's got one for every.
others.
Yeah, I've got
Okay.
the one for Curse of Strahd.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's one for the Tyranny of Dragons and
Sure.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Cool.
I watched Aquaman this week.
And
it was pretty good. It was good. I mean,
Trench is sweet, huh?
yeah, Jason Momoa can't act. That's for goddamn sure.
We have all said that. Yeah, they said that they're. I actually was listening to the show last week when Corey was talking about the trench, and everybody's like, "Ah, no spoilers." They are. That's what the second movie is apparently about. I saw it tweeted out from the director. Yeah, is something, and I think wisely, right? Like that was so cool.
Yeah.
It was by far one of the better DC movies I've seen.
Yeah.
By far.
Agreed.
They told the story well, and it was weird though, is seeing the dude that plays Jango Fett, Tom Curry, because I swear they CGI'd his face at the beginning of the movie because he looks older at near the middle end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I'm looking, I'm like, it didn't look like him. And as they did close-ups, it's like they did a shitty CGI on his face because he looked younger than when he did in Attack of the Clones. I'm like, how is this possible? So,
That's funny. That didn't stick out to me. That's funny.
really? I think it's just, DC sucks at CG when it comes to faces. Like Spider-Man's fucking hair lip. Out of Justice League. And then
Superman's hair lip.
Superman. You said Spider-Man.
No, I got
Did
what
I?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Did I say Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh, because we watched Spider-Man Homecoming was on yesterday and there's nothing on, so I watched that again and it's just good. My other thing that consumed my week is, I'm going to change the way I say it, Sekiro.
Right.
Sekiro.
See, someone was saying that we said Sekiro wrong, so I'm going to call it Sekiro.
I heard everybody talk about it as Sekiro, like you just said.
Sekiro?
Like you guys sound like you're saying cure in the middle of it, and I don't. There's no you.
Sekiro.
Well, Sekiro.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I was thinking.
like
Sekiro.
Kieran Beer is K-I-R.
Yeah.
Sekiro.
You know,
So that's how I was.
you guys might be right. I just the average people that I hear talking about it on talk shows, it's
I
always
think
Sekiro.
Sekiro is like an American. Sekiro
Yes.
sounds
Sekiro
like the
sounds
right
worse.
word.
Asian, absolutely. They tend to put the emphasis on the middle of the word, not the beginning. Americans do the
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
So-
just that you sound that you all make that nobody else does. But you might be right. That might be the right way.
Sekiro. Where's the U sound?
They're saying Sekiro.
Sekiro.
I don't hear a U.
There's no
Sekiro.
you. Only in Michigan.
Where's
is there a U.
Sarah?
You all have
Oh,
been saying.
Nate said
If
that
go and
U
listen to last
sound,
week,
and I'm
yeah,
not
if-
I
hearing
know, I
U
don't hear
sound.
it. Sekiro.
Listen to last week. You just said it. Sekiro.
I
You
don't
say
hear
Kiro. You're
No,
saying
Kiro.
Kiro. No.
Yeah,
Sekiro.
yeah.
Sekiro. We're
Like,
not saying
yeah,
hero.
like a flat eye. Yeah.
I challenge you all to listen to last week's show. You definitely say
No.
Sekiro.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm saying it right now. Sekiro.
I never
But-
said Sekiro.
Yeah, not Sekiro.
Like I say, y'all might be right. That might be the right way to say it,
Sekiro
but nobody else says it that way. So it threw me.
It just sounds weird. Sekiro just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I played that new Sekiro game.
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
me and Boba Fett. My buddy Bubba. He's a bounty hunter. No. So, anyways, that game it continues to be awesomely hard, but I'm not burnt out on it.
Yeah.
But now I'm at a point where it's like I'm at 3 different bosses, I think, and it sucks, dude. I just get destroyed every time.
I keep seeing articles about it, and everybody says the same thing you and Dirk say, that it's hard as fuck, but they can't stop playing it. And people really didn't say that about like Bloodborne and stuff. They're like, just compared it to Dark Souls, people are acting like this is kind of different in a way, which makes me want to get it and play.
I've heard that it's different because you can't level up. Like you can't in the Souls games and in Bloodborne, if you're having trouble with the boss, you can go grind and come back leveled up. In this game, you can't do that. You get from what everybody's saying.
The only thing you gain with levels is you unlock different abilities based on how many level points you get. Because unless you get prayer beads and you need 4 of them to level up, which increases your attack power and your vitality, you have to defeat mini bosses and bosses.
Yep. I'll say that you guys, like when we've talked about it in the past, it's funny. So I haven't had a good way or a time to have a conversation with you all about it and comparing it to the other From Software games. And from what I hear from everybody, because I haven't played the game yet, is that the way that it shares kind of and you said it last week, Jeff, is it's the way that those games do not hold your hand.
Yes.
Is so unlike anything else in video games.
Yes.
And it's so like you think when you've talked about other games that are like, oh man, that game really didn't hold my hand. It just made me go at it. Those games aren't even a tenth of the way to this game, right? And it's so like the actual like gameplay like formula is so different, and they're so unapologetic about not telling you how to do it. Yes. So part of the joy of the game is like just learning that, right? And in the way that like the community comes together online to kind of help each other through that is very unlike any other games out there, of any sort. And I definitely I wish I had more time in my life. Sekiro definitely would be a game that I would be playing for sure.
You definitely can't approach this game like any other game as like a hack and slash.
Yeah.
You have to be patient, and you have to be calculating, and you just have to take each fight at a time. Because if you sit there and like, okay, I'm just I got killed by the mini boss, I'm just gonna because when you die, all the mobs come back. So you have to fight through everything again. And if you learn, you can like try and bypass them. But if you try and just like burn through them again to get to your point, you'll make stupid mistakes and end up wasting potions and stuff like that. And it does not hold. And what's cool is it's very open for a lot of games that are very linear, and even open world games. Even in open world games, it's like you still have an objective. You still have a mission or a side mission to do.
Yeah,
and
right.
It points you. Yeah, it points. Here, you don't have a map. You don't have any points saying, oh, you should go this way. You just sort of have to explore everything. And I wish I could. I don't want to spoil it, but I found something like this other alternate path that I just kept jumping down ledges, and then you run into something and you're like, what in the fuck is that? And it was cool because I got something out of it and I actually made it through it. But it's super awesome. And it's a Sekiro.
You just turned Japanese there, I think. Perfect.
But yeah, that was my week. I've actually been able to play, even though I'm trying to buy a new house.
Nice.
So my world will end once that happens.
Get it in while you can.
That's right.
Yep.
What'd you say?
News of the week.
News of the week. You said news of the week. So I before we hop into this week's news of the week, I did just want to just chat just for a second because I can't help myself about the Stadia. You guys had a really great conversation about it last week. You kind of hit all those different points. I found almost everything that I wanted to talk about, you guys talked about. The one thing that I really found surprising, and I guess before I even go there, I just want to say, like, Corey was really taking the approach last week of talking about, like, okay, if this thing works, it'll be cool for all these reasons, right? And I'm with him. Let me start by just saying, like, I don't believe it will work. I don't believe it will. And my expectation, my thoughts are that when reviews for this thing start coming out, or when they give demos out for free or whatnot, that it's going to be, everybody's going to say, like, it works fine for single player games, but if you want to play like a Twitch-based multiplayer game competitively, the lag is noticeable. Like, I have a feeling that that's what reviews are going to say. And if that's what they say, then I'm not interested, right? Like, the reviews have to come out and say, like, yep, this is as good as playing a game on your console, right? With no kind of thing. And I just don't believe that we're there. Even people with fast internet, I don't think you're there.
I think it depends on how they do it. Like, if I don't have to subscribe to Stadia to be able to, like, if I can just, if everybody's just a Stadia subscriber, you know, just automatically, and I can just buy whatever games I want and play them with other people, then I probably will play it with my few friends, like, even with co-op games, like, who don't have a PS4 or whatever, like, then I'll be in. I'll play it every once in a while. But
that's
if
how
I
they'll
have to
slowly get everybody.
Yeah, but if I have to pay $20 a month to maybe play with my friend every once in a while, then no, I don't. Well,
so, like, I think that you kind of nailed it there. The thing is, like, I still, if it all comes down to if it works, right? And I don't believe it'll work. And I think that, like, you guys, was the other thing I was going to talk about, Corey, is that when you guys all talked about, because they didn't say anything about pricing, you guys were all talking about, like, subscription-based services like Netflix, and I don't think that they would do that at all. I think that they'll charge, like, probably like $50 a year, like every other video game console does, that gets you, like, online access to do voice chat and all that stuff. Well, right, but I pay that for the PlayStation and Xbox right now. I don't care about $50 a year. I'll pay that if it works. But then I just figured that the game that they would have a store just like the Steam store. Like, if they've got Ubisoft and Blizzard on board, like, those game makers are not going to be okay with a subscription service. They're going to want to get $60 from each game. So I don't see a world where they do subscription service for games. I think you'll buy games just like you do on any console digitally.
Yeah, you'll just buy them through the Google Play Store. Yeah. Or through advertisements or whatever.
Right. Like
transactions.
Yeah, because you guys were all talking about it being like a subscription service, and and maybe it is. You know, they didn't say.
We were just spitballing on that one.
Yeah, that just seemed weird to me. Like, I wouldn't, if it was only a subscription service where, like, games came up and dropped off all the time, then I'm not interested in that either, because there's no chance I want to be halfway through a game that gets removed from the service. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how that works for games.
I think that idea was presented in the articles that I had.
Well, the reason
it's like
I think the reason
when I mentioned it.
I think the reason that came up is because during the presentation, when they would show you on video, like watching a trailer on YouTube for something, it's a play now button. It's not a buy now button. They acted like you can just click a button and play it.
Though. No chance that Ubisoft.
So how's that going to work?
Right.
If, you know, I mean,
I think it's buy. I think that it's a buy button, right?
Right.
I think they just made a big deal about that because it's instantaneous, because there's no downloading. So when you buy it, you're playing 2 seconds later, right? Like,
their demo makes no sense. The whole thing was if there's an ad for the video game and you're interested in it, This is before buying it. You can just click play now and start playing the game. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
was a big part of the presentation.
I don't think they never said they never said that you don't buy it when you press that button. Like, they never said that. They just said that you wouldn't have to download it, that you could instantly play.
Plus, in a demo, it's going to say play now and not buy because it's a demo.
Yeah, and if there is demos, maybe they do that, right? Maybe they give you 10 minutes or something like that. You know what I mean? Because that's what they talked about, like YouTube integration, where you could even like download people's save points from where they're playing in the game and try and do the same challenges they are or whatnot. Like, they talked about that stuff, which I don't care about any of that, right? But yeah, so anyways, that was kind of my 2 cents. It will be interesting to see how they charge, because if, like I say, $50 a year and it works, and they give me a demo that I can try and it works, which I don't believe. Again, I'll say, and for $50 a year, and I never got to buy hardware again that screams 5 years later, but like the fan's gonna make the thing explode or whatever, like then I'm in. But if it's a subscription service, I'm out also, because like I say, there's no way I'm gonna be halfway through a game and then get some notification that it's about to leave the service in 2 weeks. Like, to me, I'll never. That's just not how I play games. I play games over 6 months or whatever, right? If they're gonna take it off of a service at some point, then I'm out. If I'm not purchasing games, that's my thoughts.
My thing is, I don't trust Google.
I think Google's gonna fucking pull the plug on it after a while, and
they do that. They just do it.
But you do trust Microsoft or whatever, like, or you
no?
Don't
But
trust
Google has a history of doing this with their products, and we mentioned that in the last episode, where there's a whole array of failed Google products simply because they did not stick with it to work on it and develop it more. They start something and then leave it.
Well, right. And that's what I say. If it doesn't work, then people aren't going to buy it. And we'll be talking about it 5 years from now like it was a joke. But if it works,
we didn't mention was Google Glass.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Google Glass.
Google Glass, Google Plus.
It's gonna go like the Soldier Boy console.
Yeah.
That's a little different. But yeah, I just think if it works, it'll be just fine. That it'll be how we're playing video games. And if it launches before they even announce the PS5 and it's got 4K gaming and I don't have to spend $600 on a console and I can play modern video games on it and it works, then yeah, I'm done with consoles. Like I just am, right? But I don't believe it yet. So we'll see. We'll see this summer. More to come.
More to come.
Number 5. Bethesda announced that they will not discuss Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield at E3 this year. What y'all got?
I mean, I don't know. It's Bethesda. I'm less and less interested. I'll be excited, I'm sure, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes along, but
I'm losing my excitement after the Fallout 76 and the 8,000 iterations of Skyrim that is out there.
I'm just thinking in general, these people, just like The Last of Us 2 or Cyberpunk or whatever, don't announce a game 5 years before you're going to release it.
Right.
Like, if you show a trailer the year before, then give us more the next year. Like, and if you're not ready to do that, then don't give us a teaser. Because then, what the fuck? You're making us...
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be hyped for 4 years for Elder Scrolls 6? Like, it's stupid.
I think
it's dumb that they do these teasers and then don't show shit for 3 to 4 years. It's...
I feel like they had to because of the backlash about Fallout 76 being online. Like, they had to say, here come the next traditional game is coming also, right? Like...
we knew that though.
We knew that.
You're right. You're right.
Thought that there was not an Elder Scrolls 6 coming. We all knew it was coming.
I just bet you that was the boardroom discussion of why they decided to announce it. I agree with you. I think you're right that they shouldn't have. It's stupid, and especially like you remember Fallout 4 that came with like 6 months notice. You think that they would learn from that, right? Like that worked out pretty well for them.
Everybody thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I will say, you guys acting like you're kind of getting sick of it. Like, Elder Scrolls 6 will be a day one purchase for me.
Well,
No
of course.
matter what, even if it's exactly like Skyrim, but more, I'm instantly in for sure.
Oh yeah.
It's it's a series I'll always buy day one no matter what. But I just don't like the footsie that they're playing.
Sure, I agree. All right, number 4. New Mutants, apparently all over the place. Probably is never going to come out. And Maisie Williams was the quote that I read was, she doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Pretty much.
That was the quote that I read. That's
like there's
so weird,
a lot of quotes from that Rolling Stone interview with those two. That were cool.
Well,
really weird.
The purchase probably screws things up even more.
The purchase did screw it up because, I mean, Maisie said that they were supposed to do reshoots to make the film scarier. And then after the merger was finalized, it never happened. Yeah.
And I don't know if this is connected to them saying they're rebooting everything but Deadpool. But, I mean, this never had a boot to begin with, but
yeah,
it had no hype train at all. Anybody who knew about it that I talked to about it, they're like, yeah, I don't know about that.
See, I'm hyped for it.
It
sounded like the coolest idea ever.
Well, I grew up reading New Mutants, so yeah. If it's those characters and in that style that was presented in that trailer, I would have been hyped all day. I don't know what Disney's plans are. So
well, Disney's going to give you a flying fucking elephant in real life. That's what they're going to give you.
That shit is whack.
or a real life Lion King.
It looks fucking good.
It's terrible.
They're all bad.
Anybody watches any of those live action movies?
The live action Aladdin's going to be great.
They are all terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know
sad. It's going to be when Mufasa dies live action. I want to be balling.
Not live action, it's CGI though.
All right, New Mutants never going to come out. Number 3. Nintendo has announced that in 2019 they're coming out with 2 new Switch models. So it sounds like
they announce it?
Yeah, it sounds like
everything I've read was rumors. Yeah, even clicking on this thing, it's still a rumor.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a rumor.
The rumor is one's going to be like a low end without vibration that's going to replace the 3DS.
Yeah, it's with probably non-detachable Joy-Cons, I would assume. Actually, they couldn't do that because you can't even play some games.
Yeah.
They've done that before. They made new 3DSs that couldn't play old one games and stuff.
But you wouldn't be able to play Let's Go Pikachu if they had attached Joy-Cons.
Yeah, you just buy the ball thing.
That's true.
The ball.
This is a rumor, I will say.
It says expanding on a rumor they published last year. The Wall Street Journal reports it. I think that's a little bit more credence than like comicbook.com or whatever.
It's a heavy rumor.
Nintendo hasn't announced this.
Right. It's not an official, but everybody's saying,
I got to be honest, I don't see this revision being cheap enough for me to jump in. Like, I'm waiting on that. I'm waiting on the $150 price point. Yeah. That's where I start caring. And I don't think even the cheap one will be buying
it. Who the fuck is Karen?
Karen was the lady in the ads that when it originally came out who plays a Switch on the rooftop.
Oh, yeah. All right, Karen.
So I'll be Karen. It's $150.
Karen or Karen?
Get in.
I'm kidding.
What do you think, Dirk? You've been flirting with Switch. Does this announcement do anything for you?
Nope.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Me neither.
I mean, I don't know. I almost the Switch feels far away from me now, even further than it did 3 months ago. So.
Yeah. I'm just like I say. I'm saving my money for next gen at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Switch.
I would love the Switch
every fucking day, really.
It's not a feasible.
I love my PS4 more, but you guys are crazy for acting like it's $200. That's too much. $200 $5 is no brainer. It's
Yeah, but when you have a mortgage and
Yeah,
kids,
exactly, dude. I'm trying to buy a house, Corey. Thank you.
You make some sacrifices.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He bought Sekiro instead of buying groceries.
I'll say
That
the
was the
opposite. I'll say the
Yeah.
opposite, Corey.
I totally
I
did.
think the Switch is awesome. I totally wish I had one. I know for myself that I don't have enough time in my video game life
That's
to
true.
play
too.
more games than I'm playing on the PS4. So it's got to be real cheap. It's got to be something for me to be like, okay, this is almost nothing at this point for me to grab it. For what? $50 to buy a
Also-
system that.
I put mine in my pocket and I literally play it on my 5-minute smoke breaks at work and enjoy forgetting about work and playing tennis for 5 minutes, and then I put it
There
back
ain't
in
no
my
way
pocket.
I can play during the day at my job.
Yeah,
that is
I don't
not
have-
fucking happening.
I don't have
But-
5-minute breaks at work.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't fly
Dude.
for me.
I don't.
But
I don't.
the other thing is, I might be different in that I've never had more than one console or system in my house. I just don't. I don't know.
I never
done.
did either until children
Yeah, that makes
wanted
sense.
to compete with me. Yeah, I always get one current modern console and then catch up
Yeah.
later on the rest of them myself. All right. Anyways, number 2, the Borderlands 3 trailer dropped. We always talk spoilers on trailers, right? What y'all think about this?
Tiny Tina.
More of the same. Yeah.
18 now.
More of the same. Yeah. Claptrap.
Before we start talking about it, there was also, we should talk about the whole presentation as a whole. They also announced Tiny Tina's Robot Tea Party, which
Yeah.
is the new Borderlands, their first tabletop game. It's a card game.
Yep.
This is cool.
That's
They
awesome.
announced Borderlands 1 and 2 remastered in 4K, and Borderlands 2 VR, and
Yep.
also Borderlands 3.
That's awesome. I never played 2. I the only one I've played is the first one.
The only one I played was 2.
2's great. One's great also, but 2 was a great 2. It's a
I
good
know.
evolution of it. The pre-sequel was not made by the same company. This is the next game after 2 that Gearbox made. We love Borderlands, right, Corey? We played them all.
I liked
Just-
it. Yeah.
We didn't beat the pre-sequel, but that's the only one.
Right. I'm more hyped for it than any of you guys, for sure. You said more of the same, and I mean, yeah, it's more of the same. It's still Borderlands, but the new engine looks great, and it looks like a blast, and the whole crew's together. I'm pretty sure that they say it's been leaks. It's 5 years after Borderlands 2. You got, I mean, it's. You got Brick Sack solo. You got Tiny Tina growing up. The whole crew's back together, but evolving, and it looks cool that they showed the one part of the world that has like trees and stuff and moss
Yeah.
and stuff hanging. We never saw any vegetation like that in the first 2. I mean. Yeah, it's the same because it's still Borderlands. It's still in the Borderlands universe, but it looks dope and the engine looks great. I think it looks like it's going to be an awesome time because we've always had a lot of fun playing Borderlands.
Yeah, I meant that as a positive, that more of the same in a good way.
I'm
No,
sick
Nate
of it.
said it more of the
Yeah,
same.
I'm sick of it. It looks exactly the same as Borderlands 2.
It's like
with
saying
different characters.
Halo 3 looks like more of the same.
I was sick. I haven't beat Halo 5 since I bought it over a year ago. I'm sick of it. I don't like to play
Halo 3, I didn't
sequels.
say Halo 5.
Yeah, I'm just
I said
saying.
Halo
I get tired of sequels. I'd way rather play something new.
I would much. You said you'd rather play Division 2. I think you're crazy. Borderlands 3 will be way more of a blast than the Division 2.
Fight!
I disagree.
Uh,
Disagree. All right, number 1. You guys talked about it coming up last week, the State of Play presentation, and then it dropped like the day after recording or whatnot. So we don't have to talk about all these games. I think the big announcement that was new for it was the Iron Man VR.
That looks
Right?
sweet, even though it's not
Yeah.
actual gameplay.
I thought that looked terrible, to be honest. They did show actual gameplay. They showed the hand that goes up and shoots things.
No, the actual the whole time there is a subtitle.
But they say it at the beginning that says this isn't
Not
actual
actual
gameplay.
gameplay.
Yeah.
No, when they show
until
the
it shows
cutscene,
them flying around.
and then they
with
show the
hand.
hand, and it's off of the screen.
But it still says it at the bottom because I watched that.
Yeah, it says it
Yeah.
at the bottom. I'm looking at it right now.
It does say it through the whole thing that it's
I'm telling you guys, did you ever play the Spider-Man Homecoming VR experience?
no.
I'm just saying at the bottom of the screen it says not actual gameplay.
I believe you, but if for what they showed, it's going to be you pointing the thing at your screen, blasting drones as they come along. Like I feel like all those games are exactly the same. It's you standing in one spot, aiming with your hand, pressing the button to blast things.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What's that?
I mean, I know where you got all the shit listed. My overall impressions was their state of play was weak as fuck.
Yeah,
and a huge failure.
Agreed.
And if the day 3 hours after the state of play dropped, if you looked up state of play on YouTube, every video was, what the fuck was that state of play? And they actually caused Nintendo Direct to trend on Twitter when the state of play dropped because everyone was comparing
awesome.
to it. And they didn't show us shit. They showed us a bunch of mediocre VR games and new Days Gone trailer, which didn't show us anything new. And that was it. I was severely disappointed. After them saying they're not going to be part of E3, they're doing something different this time. This is their first opportunity to show us their whole new way to present us new shit, and then this is what they show us. Like,
I think you nailed it.
Come on, Sony.
They got cocky.
I agree with you unless you own PlayStation VR. There was a lot of this was super VR centric, and there was I think No Man's Sky VR is really exciting.
No, that is awesome.
No Man's Sky seemed like it was built for VR the day it came out. That one where you're like the gangsters, the Blood and Truth, I thought that looked really good. That actually looked like a real game, unlike most of this stuff. And then I thought, to be honest, Concrete Genie continues to kind of look good. I feel like
Concrete Genie was the highlight for me as well. Yeah, when they showed that first trailer at E3, I was like, oh, it's just going to be paint and stuff, and they definitely show that it's a lot more than that with this new trailer. That might be. It just seems like it's such a weird game. I just don't see myself getting it, but I was a lot more impressed with this trailer than the E3 trailer for sure.
Totes.
Yep.
Big disappointment. Sony, get your shit together.
Absolutely.
I'm hyped for Days Gone though.
Yeah, I'll play Days Gone. Absolutely, that looks like it'll be fun. It was. I thought also just kind of weird, like the faceless voice of the narrator over top of it. Like they need to put out like Shuhei Yoshida. Like that dude has a lot of personality, and all the Sony fanboys like him and follow him on Twitter and stuff like that. Like he should be in between talking about things and stuff instead of just like the monotone voice from space. I feel like as well.
Reggie, or the Bowser.
Bowser. Okay, so we're continuing the road to episode 9. Every month we're gonna review a different Star Wars movie in order. Started last month with A New Hope. This week, moving on to the greatest movie of all time, in Nate's opinion.
In my opinion,
Empire Strikes Back. I like I say, I feel like I kind of joke with you guys about how I don't give a comic book movie more than an 8 compared to the movies that are really good works of film art, right? Yeah. And if I'm honest with myself, I feel the same way about Star Wars movies. You can't compete with some of the greatest things ever put on film when you're making a nerdy sci-fi story. But this was the one, right? Think about like in 70s, right? How remarkable Star Wars was
Yeah.
because of how different it was from everything that came out at the time. We talked about how it was up against like Flash Gordon and stuff was the movie that came out before it. And then Star Wars came out with such like a level of like professionalism and just craziness that it really just blew everybody away. So then imagine that they follow up with this. Like this movie just like I was, too young to remember the type of impact that it really had on me. But, what they did with the characters and everything with this movie was just mind-blowing, right?
I have some questions for the
probably-
Star Wars fans.
They're probably
You
one of the-
guys.
And it probably had one of the best spoilers of all time.
Yeah.
Before spoilers were a thing.
Yes.
Well, what do you got, Dirk? What's
Go,
your
Dirk.
question?
Okay, so who wrote this film?
Like
Is this Lucas or did he
George
like
Lucas
plot
wrote
it out and somebody wrote it for him?
He wrote it. He wrote it, and they consulted with him on the screenplay because he was an executive producer. But Irving Kushner is the one that directed this film, and that's why it's darker.
Okay.
It's why it's darker. And if anyone else had done it, it would not have been the same. If Lucas had directed it, I give you Exhibit A, which is the prequels.
Those are different time and age and all that. Lucas didn't direct any of these, right? Like he
did the first one. He directed Star Wars: A New Hope.
So, but this, like, I feel as though it was, he didn't, to answer your question, Dirk, he did not write the screenplay, right? When he wrote Star Wars was before the first A New Hope even came out, and he wrote 9 episodes, a story for them.
Oh, okay. That was my second question. Did he have the entire story written out before he started filming?
Yes, but yes, he did. And
Okay.
like I have a Rolling Stone from 1977 that's got an interview with him after the first movie came out, and he talks about the 9 episodes that he wrote at that point. Even the stuff that he says in that interview, like in that Rolling Stone, he specifically talks about the Ewoks as being the Wookiee planet and whatnot. Like, so he made changes afterwards, and each movie, I'm sure he let the directors and all that other stuff make changes as well. But yeah, he didn't write the screenplay.
No, it was Lawrence Kasdan and some other guy.
Yes,
I can't remember. Yeah.
But he plotted them out essentially, right?
Well, he wrote the story.
The big hooks, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and he came up with stuff that, in the 70s, when you look at like A New Hope and A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, before that, hyperspace or light speed was considered, the only place that had really tackled that would have been Star Trek, and that was warp drive.
Yeah. So, okay, not to stray too far off, but do the prequels, are they included in that 9 episode?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That he wrote originally? Okay. Cool. That's it. That was my only questions. Yeah.
But
the biggest takeaway from this movie is everybody says, Luke, I am your father, but that's not the actual quote. It's just, I am your father. And that's the biggest, I think of all time, the biggest wrong quote.
It is. It is, because, Vader's sitting there while Luke's hanging on that weather vane in Bespin, and he's saying, Obi-Wan never told you, about your father, and he's like, he told me enough. He told me you killed him, and he's like, no, I am your father. That is the line.
Why does he reveal it to him? Does he know that it's going to shock Luke? Is that why?
Well, because he's his dad. He wanted him to know.
That
was the light side in him, and the sliver of light side left.
You see, I thought it was a sinister motive, though.
He didn't want to destroy Luke. And
he wanted Luke to destroy the Emperor, and then him and Luke would rule
as father.
That was his plan at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know that plan until Jedi, when Luke surrenders to Vader on Endor. But he wanted him. He was giving him basically a chance. I cut off your hand, you're beaten. Unbeknownst at that time when you watch that movie, that's what happened to Anakin on Mustafar. It was the same thing, but he was so filled with hate he couldn't see past his nose, his burnt nose, and
you got a lot more than his hand chopped off.
you know, he got fucked up.
So there was
But
a benevolent motive in him revealing that he's his father. I
there
never
because
got that. That's crazy.
Because if you watch after Leia and Lando rescue Luke hanging at the bottom of Cloud City,
Right. That's
once they go
unbelievable.
back into space and you see Vader's Star Destroyer closing in, they're going to capture the Millennium Falcon. They actually do a Force link and talk because Vader reaches out and says Luke, and Luke responds with Father.
Yeah.
And then he goes back and is like, why didn't Ben tell me? And so it's a really great pivotal scene the way they cut it.
Man, y'all are blowing my mind right now because I always took it as like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm your father.
No,
What? Really?
Angry. Yeah.
Dude, ever since the wee age of, I can't remember. I've never seen it like that. Like, I've always thought of it as just a reveal. Like,
I thought he was trying to shock him by saying it.
No, because that's the whole reason why they lured Han and Leia and put Han in carbonite was Vader wanted to test the freezing system on somebody because he wanted to freeze Luke, bring him to the Emperor, but then he was going to free Luke in the Emperor's chamber, and they were going to destroy the Emperor. That was his whole game plan.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
See, I don't know about that.
I need to go back and
you
watch.
Can sort of
you
can refer to it because Vader does refer to Luke as the Emperor's prize when he's talking to Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think Vader himself was conflicted, right? Like,
yeah.
I think on one hand, he's following orders because he knows that the Emperor is his boss, right? And he doesn't want to disobey. Like, I think he's setting up the whole trap for Skywalker on purpose, and the Emperor asks him to bring him before him, right? And he's kind of following those orders, like, and then he's hoping that it's going to work out, right? You know what I mean? We can rule the galaxy as father and son. Like, I think he's waiting for the moment where Luke kind of shows his stuff, right? And
that then is brilliant.
Kind of try and talk him into it or whatnot. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I think
that's incredible for the time period to have a villain that nuanced, that developed and layered is just insane to me. I mean, that didn't really happen. Like, it was very black and white sort of villains before up to that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, and before Lucas, sorry, Corey, I'll get. Before Lucas touched Empire Strikes Back after he started doing the prequels, before he started putting his sticky fat fingers into a movie that he didn't even write or direct.
Yeah.
Because he adds scenes in the special edition. Corey's probably the only one that has VHS copies at this point of what it originally looked like.
Does.
Yeah. But when Vader's communicating with the Emperor when they're in the asteroid field, Lucas changed it, and then you see the Emperor actually refer to Luke as the son of Skywalker in the re-edits, and it just changes the whole tone of the film because it's sort of like heavy-handed saying, oh, by the way, I'm just going to sit there and give you guys Mr. Captain Obvious here. And it's like, don't fuck with it, dude. Leave it like it was. It was pristine.
I'll just say as the youngest of the crew, these three movies were all just old movies my whole time growing up, and I don't even know if I watched them in order originally when I saw them. I might have seen Return of the Jedi first, to be honest. Like, I don't know. But that, I mean, spoilers don't matter.
We're talking spoilers, right.
It's Return of the Jedi when, Vader kills the Emperor. That's out of love for Luke, you know.
Yes.
And so that's when, like, he revealed himself as being his father. Like, I already had that impression that he does, in a way, you know, the dark side has taken him over for sure, but he's deep down in there, just like Luke wants him, you know, he talks to him about it, is that, you know, his dad's still in there. And so that was just his time when he was telling him that he was his father. It was fucked up situation for sure, but
maybe you tell him that before you cut his hand off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Uh,
But,
I think just a few other kind of thoughts like the Han Leia Chewie being frozen scene was all-time classic, right? Everybody
I love
knows.
you. I know.
Yeah, Harrison Ford ad-libbed that, right? It was
Yeah.
supposed to be Me Too. And in the spur of the moment was being filmed. He said, "I know," and they left that in there. Like, and just that whole like, yeah, Chewie was supposed to kind of started ripping everybody up, and for Han to go to him like, "No, you got to take care of Leia," touching
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, it's just whatever. I think like it's funny like to say that it's my favorite movie because it ends in such a cliffhanger. Like it's not a complete work, right? It relies on the movies around it.
That's the thing. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what the fuck even happened in that movie? Nothing.
A lot.
I mean, a lot.
Luke got
a
trained.
lot,
Luke became
yes.
a Jedi.
Yes, there was no big ending. They just took off. He escaped and took off. It's like,
Well, you know what's funny is when
They're all
Luke
going
was
to
on,
get Han.
when Luke was in Dagobah training with Yoda, you know, he goes into that cave and Yoda's like, "You don't need your weapons," and he takes his lightsaber anyways.
Yep.
And then he confronts Vader and fights him, cuts off Vader's head, and then the face mask explodes, and it's Luke's face in the face mask. So you're wondering, when the movie came out, everyone was like, well, is that
everybody
indicative?
was high, and they were like, "What the fuck just happened?"
They're like, is this indicative that Luke is going to become Vader, or is it actually showing that Vader is Luke's father earlier in the movie than the big reveal in Bespin? You know, so it could serve both. It could have served both.
That.
It could have served both.
I thought it was just in Luke's head, and he didn't know that at the time, and I thought it was just him being whatever, worried that he's not training properly, he's going to turn dark side.
That could be too.
You know?
It's open to
Dark side was
interpretation.
strong in there.
It's still open to interpretation. What did actually he want to show in that scene?
Interpreting it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a great opening fight scene also.
Excellent. One of the best of all time.
The Battle of Hoth is awesome.
Yes, it is.
For sure.
And they tried to recreate that when we get to Last Jedi on the Salt Planet, but
so it's funny, Jeff. You talked about the special edition stuff. I did want to, as much as we've just been destroying Lucas for the special editions since we've been talking about these so far. I think that this movie contains the only special edition addition that I'm okay with is the
Boba.
No. The Wampa, the snow monster at the beginning. They actually still used a puppet for that. It wasn't computer animated, right?
Oh, nice.
And it doesn't look out of place like all the rest of that stuff does.
What scene?
The opening scene when Luke gets captured by the Wampa. They put in extra footage in the special edition of the Wampa kind of
dragon.
Just dragging Luke around and hanging him up, and he's eating dinner when Luke goes to cut his arm off.
That was added in.
And it doesn't look out of place
because it's puppetry, right?
Yes,
that's why.
And all that did was just give you a more sense of this creature was just feasting on the tauntaun, and it was well done. You're right. I try to zone out the Lucas ads because I still remember the original pristine movie.
Yeah,
it wasn't fucked up, but yeah, I agree.
Did he destroy those versions?
Wait until we watch Jedi.
I don't know. Yeah,
Wait,
I don't. Disney's got to have them. The the one last thing that I'll talk about this movie is how great the introduction to Yoda, right? Like the Yoda acting like he's the crazy old man. Yeah, some of the most classic stuff ever. And it's so funny to watch Luke's turn when he realizes that it's him. You know what I mean? He goes from being the whiniest little nerd on Earth to,
I have a question.
To being like, "Oops, I messed that up." What's up?
No, I have a question about Yoda's voice. Is that the same guy that does Grover from Sesame Street?
Frank Oz, yes.
Grover and Fozzie the Bear.
Frank Oz.
Knew it. Sounds exactly like him. Yep.
And wait until we get into prequels when they went to CGI Yoda and not Muppet Yoda.
We can flip around like a motherfucker, though.
No.
All right, so that's been Empire Strikes Back on the road to episode 9 here. We're gonna move next month into Return of the Jedi, right?
Jedi was good too.
Everybody, go watch Jedi, and we'll talk about that. The first one, though, that's kind of like, okay, there's some shit that was wrong. Like these first 2 movies, you can't like fault them. I mean,
No.
you can't.
Agreed.
So anyways, thanks for watching Star Wars, everybody.
Hot topic.
Pop over to digitalanddice.com to listen to shows like Hazardous Endeavors, the SGO Files, or the Digital and Dice podcasts. Whether you're a fan of podcasts, enjoy watching people play D&D, or just need a way to waste some time as the universe slowly cools and slides towards its inevitable entropic end, Digital and Dice has you covered.
Okay, so for those of you who watch the show on a weekly basis, you'll know that we've been slacking on our the names of the week and adding the YouTube community corners. It's just because I've been out of town. We all been busy doing stuff. We have still been streaming every Sunday, and want to send a shout out to everybody who has joined me and Jeff for the stream this week. We did Call of Duty again because I think that's the only game that we have together. We got to find some other games and download them ahead of time so we can.
I have Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Something that's not Call of Duty. Something that's not a first-person shooter, because it's hard to chat with people and
It
play
is.
a first-person shooter at the same time. But thank you everybody for stopping by. This week we had Enderkin Gaming, Maverick, The Zombified, Misfit Bear, TA Casper. What did TA stand for again? He told us before. It's like the authentic or
I don't remember.
the something Casper. He told us. I forget.
Question.
Captain Emo, Raise Gaming. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing up to the stream.
That's 2 weeks to couple up hasn't popped by. What's up with that?
Calling you out, couple up. But yeah, really appreciate
Where's
everybody.
Julia?
It's a great time. Julia wasn't there either.
Lauren
The,
wasn't there.
Anybody, if you don't watch the stream, we do it Sunday nights, 9:30 Eastern time. We always tweet it out and put it on our Facebook page, so you can check it there. We're about to go into spoilers this week. Is around The Walking Dead, the video game season, basically the final season, the whole season. We'll talk about it once here. So it'll be a full spoilers conversation. So if you have not played that yet, you should check out first. Before we hop over to that, I want to just say thanks for listening or watching this week's show. Please consider supporting us over at patreon.com/GCANDC. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us make this show better.
Yeah.
Please.
Sure, and find us on find us on Twitter at GCANDC and join Discord, Facebook groups.
If you're looking for some sweet merch, grab a t-shirt, a hoodie, mug, or a sticker from the Games, Comics, and Culture store at teespring.com.
Yeah. And if you're checking out the links to this video and you wonder who does the awesome intro music, you need to follow the link and check out Fred Thomas because he's the one who does the music. And then if you like our Games, Comics, and Culture logo, we can only thank C Rider, the one and only. Check out her Instagram. And it's XEE, not anything else. So thanks for joining, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
next
y'all.
week.
Have a great week, everybody.
Next time.
Here we are, finding ourselves amongst the full spoilers.
Once again,
Telltale's Walking Dead, right? I think, Corey, we've talked about this in the past. I kind of want to kick it off before we talk about this video game, talk about the fact that the Telltale was shut down and folks did not get severance packages. They were told basically that they were brought into a meeting and said, you're gone now and your health insurance is only going to last through the rest of the month and we're not going to give you any severance because we ran out of money. Yeah. Yep. It sucks. I tried to do some research.
That's bullshit. You know that CEO didn't run out of money. CEO. I mean,
right. They stashed it away someplace. Skybound took over.
There was money. Yeah.
And
Skybound Games.
Yeah, and I was kind of doing some research that they went ahead and hired back folks from the original team to make these final episodes, but I never saw a single article that was very specific about like they offered it to everyone or not, right? Like I don't know
Right.
the politics behind what happened with that. And so to be honest, like if they really fucked people over like that and didn't offer 100% of those folks some type of retribution, and then I paid $20 after all that happened,
Yeah.
like I really feel bad about that
Right.
and almost want to take back like giving them like our airtime and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. But we like the game.
And apparently,
So,
and like I say, I think the fact that when I searched around on Twitter, the fact that there weren't employees saying, "Hey, I'm still fucked over here," like I think that's a sign that they probably did take care of
yeah.
folks or the folks who
Yeah, I
needed
heard
it.
that. I mean, I feel like we've talked about it before that the boss is an asshole over at Telltale, and people are really unhappy with like forced deadlines, and that's why like half their games suck is just because the upper management over there was terrible, and it's supposed to be obviously these are just creative narrative driven games, and it's not a forced thing, and they would just it was super stressful environment from I know I read an article about that like a year or two ago.
Sure. Yep. So anyways, our heart goes out to the folks that were displaced because of this, and hopefully buying this gave them a little bit more money in there, or a couple extra paychecks, or whatever the case might be, or maybe Skybound hired some of these people permanently, or whatever. Right? We're hoping that that's the case. So
No, at least all those names on the walls at the end
Yeah.
had to have gotten paid, right?
Yep. Yeah, but those could have been Skybound folks too. Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah. So anyways, with that out of the way, let's talk about the Walking Dead Telltale games, right? Let's talk about them in general. I think we're specifically going to spoil the final season here, but I think that clearly we can't do that without talking about the past seasons as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think. Well, first of all, before we go any further, like, what's your overarching review? What are your thoughts about the final season? How do you place it? What do you think?
The final season, I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
It was good. The romance thing, which you had brought up, really kind of, I agree with you more now that after thinking on it some more, like that didn't need to be part of the story. It kind of took away from it looking back on it. Because I was starting to worry about, what's her name?
Violet.
Violet. And my interactions with her more than the story. And they hadn't put any of that stuff in any of the previous episodes very much. So that did kind of take away from it. And the other thing I agree with you about is episode 3. I really liked it at the time. And you said how unnecessary it was.
Do you mean season 3 or episode 3?
Season 3.
Okay.
Season 3. And I liked season 3 when it came out. I thought it was cool. But then season 4 came out, and I had game saves from my Xbox 360 or whatever. Yeah. So I couldn't recover my save. So it was asking me choices about what I made in episode 1 or season 1 and 2.
Yep.
And part of the reason I couldn't even remember the choices I made for half of them because season 3 was just a fucking filler. And they didn't ask a single question about that. So, like, if they had gone straight to this, if they had just made it a trilogy, which makes sense, it would have been way better because I couldn't remember half my choices. I think I made the right ones, but I don't know. All I know is I shot Lee.
Right.
You know, like that's what I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, but overall. Cool. I like how it was a happy ending, kind of melancholy, depending on how many people you lost.
Sure.
Who died in your game?
Oh, geez, I don't even
of the kids from the school.
Of the kids from the school, I mean the crazy guy who was running it to begin with, right? He killed his girlfriend or whatnot, right? And then what's his name? AJ shot him in the head in my game.
He shot him in my game too.
When the folks when they got invaded by the raiders, they killed I don't know, the kid who honestly was the bit player throughout the whole thing for me that I
Who,
rarely
10?
talked to. No, not 10. One of the older kids. He was like brunette or
He
what?
got stabbed in the neck.
Yes,
Yeah, he died in mine too.
I think that might be it.
Did 10 die in yours?
Yes, I had AJ shoot 10 on the bridge.
Yeah, because you trusted him, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
then Lewis could have died. Like if you look at the choices at the end,
yeah,
like if you hadn't trusted 10 to make that call,
right.
depending on who you chose in the date scene, would be the person who died at that time.
And I think you could have picked to not shoot 10, and then that person would have gotten eaten by zombies trying to save 10.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like happened, right?
And that the person who it was depended on your date scene choices.
Right.
Whether it would be Lewis or Violet.
Sure.
It was Lewis for you?
No, it was Violet.
Who got locked up in the ship for you?
Lewis got his tongue cut out.
Okay. Same.
Yep.
See, I feel, and then what happened? Did you tell AJ to shoot Lily or no?
No.
You told him not to? And then she killed Zombie
James.
Boy?
Yeah.
We made similar choices.
Yeah, sounds like we did. We totally did. So I feel like, first of all, talking about like season 1, the ending of that made it one of the greatest video games of all time, right? The relationship that she built with Lee, and then the ending of him dying, right?
Right.
Season 2, I thought was not as good as that, but was a really good kind of coming of age. Like she's on her own, she's making her own decisions, and even the grown-ups around her are looking to her for leadership or whatnot.
Right.
Season 3, like we say, completely throwawayable. You could have done nothing. You could have just eliminate that and play from 2 to 4, and you wouldn't have missed a single thing. Really weird. I thought really weird to me that she didn't find AJ at the beginning of season 4. Like you end with season 3 of like she's leaving the town to go get him, and then at the start of season 4 she just has him, right? And they crash their car. And don't even talk about that until the very end of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, they go back to it.
Yeah, right at the very end. But it's weird that they didn't even mention it or anything at the beginning of it. Like you could have finished season 2 where she's walking away with him as a baby and started season 4 where she has him, and it would have never, all that stuff in between with that other village and him getting kidnapped and all that stuff wouldn't have happened. So really weird.
I had. Yeah, it was hard for me to have feelings for that lady that Clementine shot when that was taking care of him.
Sure.
Like, I did have feelings for him once she realized that she was trying to help out AJ or whatever. Right. But at the same time, I don't know who the fuck that lady was. Right. What was even happening?
Right.
She was running into a flaming building.
Right.
And, weird.
Yeah, they didn't explain any of that, right? They didn't explain any of it. It's weird, really weird. But yeah, and then I thought season 4, like I thought it was a good kind of wrap up to the story. I thought for sure when she was dying, I thought, okay, full circle story, right? And this is going to be good enough. And then the fact that it wasn't that, I thought was cool because I was like,
the whole time I was thinking the leg bite. Come on. Leg bite doesn't kill you.
Right.
Cut off that fucking leg immediately. Right.
And she was kind of too like green and sick looking, like they were trying to play it like that, right? Like
when they were in the stables.
Yes.
Yeah, she looked like she was. That's when I started crying, and I was like, oh no, she's actually fucking dying.
But yeah, even when that was happening, I was like, well, this is a little predictable, but I like it anyways, sort of thing. She's gonna go be with Lee or whatever, and then it was cool that they changed it up, that they went and she actually didn't die at the end of it. I think. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we go there, when you were at the reconcile phase or whatever, trying to walk around and talk to everybody and reconcile with them for killing old dude.
Yeah.
Did you ignore Rosie?
Did I ignore her? No.
You went up and petted her or something?
I tried to, but she growled at me. And
See,
it said she's not ready to be friends yet.
at the end of that episode, it said you chose to ignore Rosie, and she felt underappreciated. And I was like, no, damn it.
Such a good girl.
I'm so upset.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that was me becoming friends with her again.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, like, it's funny to me, like we talked about in the show, full spoilers for the show also, even though you're ahead of where I am. We talked about, the episode where after Rick leaves, where Judith is grown up badass, right? And I kind of had problems with that and you didn't, sort of thing. Like, I feel like the way that this video game approached AJ was so much better because AJ was fucking making mistakes that a little kid would make in that situation. Like the growing up in that world was fucking him up, right, in the head. And like that's what I didn't like about Judith is like she's just like this little badass, like, oh, I learned from Michonne and I'm gonna run out here with full confidence and kick some ass. Like, and that just seems so stupid to me. Like, in this game, like I like the fact that they explored it, that he's messed up. Like,
I love the text you sent me. AJ learns from your actions. You just tortured a man in front of him.
Yep.
So I was like, fuck. That happened with me too. I was like, shit.
It's funny though.
But Violet was like, don't be afraid to rough him up. And I'm like, well, you're my girl. So yeah, I'll rough him up a little bit. No problem.
Oh, it's funny.
I forgot about AJ. Sitting there watching.
And I didn't feel too guilty about that because I wouldn't have let AJ stay in that room. Like, he was watching the dude with the gun or whatever. I would have been like, okay, AJ, it's time for you to leave before I went and talked to him. You know what I mean? So that was kind of weird, like that he had to be there for it. But bottom line is those folks came to their house and killed their friends and kidnapped them and stuff. Like, that's beyond...
Yeah, I didn't do anything too cruel to him, but I slammed his face in the fucking desk and like, I got a little rough with him, but he deserved it.
Did you let him turn?
No, I shot him.
I let him turn too. Like,
damn.
Yeah,
that's hard.
Yeah, there's a scene, the final scene with Lily at the end. Like, AJ was like, yeah, and we let him turn in front of us, and he begged us not to, and we did it anyways. And Lilith looked at the two of you like, God, you guys are fucked up. Like, it was funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not let him turn. That's cool, man.
He was an asshole.
He was.
And I did it after I gave him my word that I wouldn't do that. So yeah, it's like AJ learned that my word didn't mean anything. But that's what Daryl did in the show. Remember, once it was war, it's war. These people.
Well, that's the thing. That, like you said, that's how it is. It's tough to have role models as a kid growing up in the apocalypse because the decisions you need to make as an adult are gonna be fucked up.
Yep.
Like, you're not gonna be your normal self. Like, it's a fucking zombie apocalypse. You're gonna do some fucked up shit to survive, but still try and somehow maintain being a good human. Like, and AJ's a kid growing up in that, and that's confusing as fuck, I'm sure.
Yep. Absolutely. Not. You don't blame him for being a little twisted by the time you get through all. So yeah, it was cool. And then you talked about it for a second before. I thought that the credits were really awesome. How when you walked in the hallway and the credits were the graffiti all over the wall and stuff. I thought that was really nice touch. You could kind of take your time as much as you wanted, kind of looking at them and whatnot. I just thought that was really great.
Funny, it didn't say Telltale at all.
Yeah, right. It's Skybound.
And then Skybound Games.
Yeah. I thought the other thing that we didn't talk about is the Lee scene on the train, right? Like, I thought that was real touching. That third episode, I honestly thought was like really bad. The start of that with the bad party and all that stuff. I was like, I actually had my wife sit next to me during that one, and she was like, "This is horrible." And I looked over and I was like, "Yes, this is terrible." I don't know, because episode 2 was so kind of strong.
I didn't think it was that bad. It was just a failed party. I mean, that's trying to have a party when everything's in shit. So it ends up.
The conversations that they were having were real stupid, though. It wasn't like a lot. Some of that these games when they're at their best.
Your wife sitting next to you when you're playing nerd-based games.
I disagree. I disagree. The good parts of this game, I wouldn't worry about that at all. You know what I mean? Like if she had watched the first season, I don't feel like I need to hide it from her or say that this is juvenile or anything like that. And that party was terrible. But then they went right to the Lee scene, and I was like, okay, you got me. That was really great to hear his voice actor again. And,
that teared me up.
Yeah, and how she went from being young to being her current age, and Lee was like, oh, shit, look at you. And, like, that was, like, very nice, I thought.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Does that make her crazy, though?
No, she just had a dream. No,
they acted like it was a regular thing, though.
I don't think so. I thought it was a dream.
It was, but they acted like it was a regular, reoccurring dream.
Sure. I think you can have reoccurring dreams without being crazy.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, I don't think it was crazy. I really liked it. But, and in the back of my head, I was like, this is kind of weird that they have meetings like this.
Sure. That's the thing, yeah. Well, like you say, the apocalypse will do that to you. She was a little girl herself at that time, right? Like all that came through. So.
Yeah, I said my favorite spot was the tree house, and that's where they found me.
Oh, nice. All right. So that's about all I got. I feel like you said what, 8 out of 10? Like I feel like I give it like a 7, to be honest. I don't think the series never got back to what that first season was. You know.
What do we give the series?
The whole thing?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know, because I feel like season 1 is 10 out of 10 and nothing else ever came back close to that. I think if I had to do the whole thing, I think, be honest, I give it like a 6. I think there was too much. There was way too much.
6?
Yeah, I feel like thing? Yeah, I feel like the fact that season 3 was throwaway was a big downer for me. In even of this final episode, the final season, I feel like it was half good. Like there was times where I was like, I wish that this was over with, so I could be starting Spider-Man now. Like, I wasn't. Yeah, I was looking past it in some spots.
Yeah, I gave it a 7.5.
All right, give it that. But yeah, I certainly kind of going forward, if I talk to somebody who never played any of these, I would say just play season 1.
Right.
You know what I mean? The time investment for the rest of them is not worth the payback.
No. But it was fun. I hope Clementine survives and comes in to some other Walking Dead medium.
Yeah, I was really hoping that they would have tied it up by like putting it into the comics or into the show or something.
Right. That would have been sick, yeah. That would have been really cool.
For her to meet up with Rick or something at the end of it, you know? That's what I wish they would have done, but whatever. It was still all right.
Yeah.
It's funny that season 1 came out in 2012. Think about that.
Yeah.
So it seems much longer than it.
Talking about of the show?
No, of the video game. Season 1 came out on the 360 in 2012.
The show was 9 years ago. So 19.
Yeah.
No, not 19. 2009?
2010.
2010?
Yeah. Totally. All right. Well, that's it. Walking Dead. Go play season 1, everybody.
Yeah.
Corey?
I don't think we convinced them.
This has been episode 136 of Comically Gaming. I think next week, assuming that enough people watch it, next week is either Hellboy or Shazam. I forget which one comes out first. I think it's Shazam.
Is it?
Pretty sure. You probably won't see it. You didn't even go see Captain Marvel yet. What's wrong with
you? Shazam! Yeah.
You need to go do a double feature.
No excuse. I have plenty of excuses, but I don't want to give them right now.
Watch Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Do that. Do that shit, dude.
Yeah,
all right. Thanks, everybody, for watching Comically Gaming 136. We love you. Have a great week.
Thanks.